Syracuse is a tough team. They throw the ball a lot. They run. I mean, their running back is big. But yeah, they McCord threw it 47 times for 470 last week. They ran it with a variety of guys. You see wide receiver numbers, including Oronde Gadsden Jr. That is Oronde Gadsden, the son of Oronde Gadsden, who played for the Miami Dolphins. In case you were wondering, like that's it. Yes, that is his progeny. And they're an older team. They're a physical team. On offense and defense, they do run this, that real air raid offense, but they're a tough challenge. Miami opened as like a 10.5, 12.5 point favorite. But this is where Miami has been in terms of, favorites for the across the year. But as you see there, 3 receivers with 100 in the last game. I mean, that's how you get to almost 500 yards, with a receiver just short of 200 and 2 just over the 100-yard mark. And then, hey, Justice Ross Simmons, 1 for 32. That could be a game-winning play, guys. I guarantee you Cal would have loved 1 extra catch for 32 yards when they were trying to extend that lead. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's a third of the field in one chunk. That's nothing to shake a stick at. The Pena kid is like he's their slot guy. Really didn't even do much, but he is one of their top players on offense. Still got in the end zone. But yeah, this is a team that is a formidable opponent. I'm gonna still call it the Carrier Dome. I know it's the JMA Wireless. It's the Carrier Dome, bro. It's where Donovan McNabb played. It's where all those basketball games were played. Up to the same gym, barn that they made into a gym. It is what it is, and they're going to be keyed up. This is continues to be the Super Bowl for the opponents, and honestly, this has to be Miami's Super Bowl as well. Every week is a playoff game. Now I know after the rankings, the college football playoff rankings that came out on Tuesday, where Miami moved up, Tuesday being yesterday, Miami moved up from 8 to 6 and maintains their 3rd seed. Because remember, it's the conference champions get the top seeds, but they move up 2 spots to 6th, and SMU is at 9th. That opens up the door for a team losing the ACC championship. I'm going to get there. That opens up the door for a team who loses the ACC championship game potentially to make the college football playoff field, which is something that I did not see as open before when it was Miami at 7 or 8 and then SMU at like 13 to 15. So you move them both up into the range of, seeded teams. Cool. Then you also, as Mark was alluding to by flashing the 3, have Clemson lurking there at 13th. 12th. Sorry, but seeded 13th because.
Oh, I got you.
Right. Yeah, ranked 12, seeded 13th. So the first team not in the bracket. So we went from basically one way into the college football playoff for an ACC team, which is win the ACC championship game. And I'm not saying that I want to leverage one of these extended ones, right? But potentially having a path for 2, if not 3. And I think that finally, the committee had to kind of admit that the ACC is not the trash conference that they were kind of using as their logical foundation moving forward previously. But in terms of Miami, I'm not leaving it to chance. Because if you lose this game, bye, see ya. It'll be SMU and Clemson. Tough. You know what I mean? So, is there a path? Yes. I don't think there's a backdoor path for Miami. Miami, I believe, still needs to go and win, and that should be the focus.
I don't think the rankings are horrendous. I ranked the teams. Well, I made a prediction of what I thought the committee would do. So I'd never done that before. I made a top 25 prediction of what I thought they would unveil, and I was no more than 1 spot off on anyone. So I hit it pretty close. These are the issues I have. And then here is the opportunity that the ACC has from my angle, and then also where the committee has somewhat boxed themselves in if, in fact, they're going to rally the SEC into these spots. So first and foremost, Clemson's got a pretty marginal resume. I do not believe in the Clemson resume. I did not expect Ole Miss and Alabama to drop below Clemson. Now, I know a lot of people are really against Alabama at this point, and they did look horrific this past weekend, but it is an evaluation of the entire season, and their 8-3 resume is stronger. So is Ole Miss's than Clemson's 9-2 resume. Clemson's 9-2 resume includes a total beatdown by Georgia, a dominant win by Louisville, and then Clemson's best win is Pitt. Like, I just don't see where that resume is any good at all. So I've got Clemson at 17. So I did a predictor, but then I also did where I ranked the teams. I've got Clemson at 17. I just don't think that they have earned that ranking. That said, my rankings don't matter. The committee's got them at 12. Mm-hmm. So with Miami at 6, and nobody here wants to hear this because this involves Miami losing the ACC championship game. But if you're some ACC fan that wants to see the best possible scenario, and I understand your viewpoint, Cam, because you just want to guarantee it. Obviously, you want to win championships and march in and all of that. And I understand the reservation because we know how these committees work and how they have worked and how just things magically you lose to SMU by a field goal in a really good game and you go from 6 to 13 and what just happened. But logically, based on the way the committee has moved these teams, if SMU is their 9th best team in the country and they beat number 6, Miami's ascended all the way to 6, there should be no way, based on how they've treated these other teams, that Miami should drop out of the playoff if they lose a close game against SMU. They should not drop from 6 all the way to 13.
Shouldn't, but I'm not putting it past them, man. We've seen this stuff. There's a super chat in there. Somebody talking about maybe it's just a regular comment, but basically saying one about guys being left off of
I saw it.
ballots.
I'll grab it.
Yeah. But basically, like, Xavier Restrepo not being a finalist for the Biletnikoff for best receiver in the country, Andres Borregales not being a finalist for the Groza Award, and Cam Ward not being a finalist for like the Maxwell Award, and a couple look, hey, Tyson Tracy, thanks for the question. I don't know, bro. I don't. If you're espousing that your award is for the best college football player or the most outstanding offensive player in the country this year, and Cam Ward is not one of your finalists, you have invalidated your award on its face. I'm not paying attention at all to the Maxwell henceforth. You have shown yourself to be a comedic organization. Like, your opinion is not worth mentioning. Restrepo, I get. I don't like it. But he is, if I open up the stats really quick, sorry, I know this is really great stuff.
Well, it always depends on how many other guys were named. Are we talking about finalists as in 3? Or are we talking about 7?
3.
Okay.
Like the terminal finalists. So Restrepo leading the team in receiving at 979 with 10 touchdowns. He is 13th in the country in receiving yards and tied for 7th in receiving touchdowns. I know he set all the Miami career records and things, and I think that like making him a finalist would have been like a career, like a lifetime achievement award kind of a thing. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be all conference. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be second team All-American. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be all those things because I think that he should, but being a top 3 finalist for best singular receiver in this season feels a little bit of a stretch. But I can still say that look, commend him for the work that he's done, being the all-time career leader in receptions and receiving yards at the University of Miami, pushing this team, being an integral part of this offense, should be, first team all conference, should be maybe second team All-American. All those things are still in front of him. That one, I didn't have as much pushback on. Borregales not being a finalist and the kid from Florida State being, and and he was a finalist last year and is performing better. Actually, Borregales is, and it's like, oh, well, he's missed a singular kick this year. Really? That's what we're going to do? That's what we're going to do. Oh, well, the kid from Florida State has scored 90% of the points that Florida State has scored this year. Not my fault that they're dumpster juice. You know what I mean? Like, Borregales has more extra points than that other kid has total points, field goals and extra points this year. What are we talking about? So it's going to, that's one. So again, I always like to come in here, Mark, when people say, okay, somebody got left off or whatever, who will go? That kid. I think it's the Fitzgerald kid from, or get out. Sorry. Actually, I'm not even sorry.
You said 100%. It's hard to do much better than that.
Yeah, but when you have 7 kicks in a year versus
what he's 11 for 11.
What?
So I will let you know that this is what I don't like about all of these awards is that I filled out an All-America team for the Football Writers Association.
Nice.
And in looking at the kickers, this is what I do. If I don't have any immediate knowledge of, okay, I saw this, this, and that, of course, I'm going to the statistics. And what am I doing? Am I just saying, okay, this guy's 11 for 11. He's on my All-America team. No, of course not. I'm looking at percentage, of course. I'm looking at when are these kicks happening? Are they taking place in meaningful games against good competition? Or did he inflate his numbers? Not his fault, whoever it is, just this random hypothetical kicker. Did he go 6 for 6 against UConn when they won 48-13? And then I look at the length of the kicks. What was the 40 to 49, 50 plus numbers? And then are we looking at game winning or game losing misses? So I go to all those various categories to try to get a well-rounded look at these kicking performances.
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand.
I selected the Michigan kicker, by the way.
Okay. And that's not necessarily one that I have pushback on. I do have pushback on it. But yeah, I think it was I think it's ridiculous that Borregales, as a senior, being left off after having been a semifinalist as a sophomore, finalist as a junior, and his performance has continued to be excellent and improving on this team. So if you're talking about in the context of the team that you're on, what I mean, but yeah, so he's 95% efficacy rate on 15 or 16 or 93.8, whatever it is. And I saw somebody, on Twitter respond to me and said, hey, this offense continues to score touchdowns and go for it on 4th down situations. And that's taken away some of the opportunities that he would have had for a larger number of field goal attempts. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, maybe that is true. Like if he would have been, 21 for 22 instead of 15 for 16 with 6 more kicks or whatever. But we have the offense to be able to go for it, and we go for it and we score. And so he's had a million extra points. But yeah, I'm very displeased by that one.
Who were the Maxwell finalists?
I would have to look.
Boise State, Ashton Genty.
It was probably and I know where it is, and I might get pushback on this, but before we just go on, Dylan Gabriel was a finalist and Cam Ward was not. I'm very sorry, individual singular excellence, even in the context of a team construct, Cameron Ward. Not just because his name is my name and my name is his name too, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. You're not picking. Dan Lanning is picking Cam Ward. Given the opportunity to say, you got one quarterback for your team. Pick one. Anonymously behind. I get that he would go in the public and say, well, yes, if I have to, I'm going to pick my guy. You go behind closed doors and give him the option, he's picking Cam Ward. The fact that continues to be a thing where they're trying to prop up Dylan freaking Gabriel over Cam Ward for individual excellence this year, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, so of course Dylan Gabriel's having a nice season, of course, but 22 touchdowns and 6 picks is nothing overwhelming.
You know what is overwhelming? Cam Ward's numbers.
Dylan Gabriel is completing 6 percentage points higher. Cam Ward's got a lot more yardage, and he's got a 34-7 touchdown to pick ratio versus 22-6. Yeah, and then beyond that, you just have to watch the guys play.
At 78 yards more passing per game, not even taking into account the running numbers and everything. And come on, no, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. And again, Dylan Gabriel, good, solid player, should be considered for a variety of awards and placements and things. But not a single one of them should be at the expense of Cam Ward. Not a single, unless it's who's the best Oregon Ducks quarterback this year, Dylan Gabriel or Cam Ward? Oh, Dylan Gabriel all day. Anything short of that in comparison, there is no comparison.
I don't know how many times Dylan Gabriel has been sitting on the bench in the fourth quarter because they've just been putting teams away week after week. I don't know.
Miami could have been, Miami could have sat Cam Ward a lot this year and didn't. I know it was early and, you're trying to build that camaraderie, but there were a lot of people coming at me during games. Hey, even the Florida game, hey, get him out of there. Okay. He could have sat. And also, it's on the defense a little bit because that Louisville game, we were about to boat race them and he could have sat and things like that. But